Diane in Denmark here, rah, rah, rah. Hooray, hooray, hooray. It is Wednesday morning, or Little Saturday as they call it in Sweden. Tomorrow, Thursday, in Denmark we call it Little Friday, but anyway, don't want to confuse people. Two things for you today. I'll do a question and answer session. We'll be talking also about Corona, and I had some personal questions as well. But first of all, let's not forget, even with Corona going on, let's not forget our wee challenge that we're going on right now. We're doing a 40-day declutter challenge, just looking for one item. We're on to, drum roll please, woohoo, day 15. And I'm working, either by zone or just spontaneous things that come up. My declutter item, I've actually got a few items today, was inspired by one of the ladies on Instagram. Remember, you can post under the hashtag Diane in Denmark, and then we can see what you're decluttering, or what your shiny sink picture, whatever it is. So my item for today is some a cookbook and some menu things, recipes. And it's really good to go through these from time to time. I do the thing of, I take out recipes if I see something. We get these free things from the supermarket, the things with recipes you can make. This is some Swedish ones I've got. Here we are, because look, inköpslistan. And I keep them in along with my house management binder, control journal, what you want. And so when I'm doing my menu planning, usually on a Tuesday, plan a play date on a Tuesday, then I have a wee look and say, shall I make this? And then, after a couple of weeks, if I haven't made it, it's probably not happening. And if I do make it, then either, I'll take a photo of it and put it, I've got a Pinterest board with recipes, or I'll put it in a folder if it's going to be something that I'm going to be referring to very often. And in my folder, I've got it here in the kitchen. It's, kind of family recipes and kind of tried and tested and trusted ones. Anyway, I've also found an old slow cooker cookbook that can go. This is also a recipe magazine that I've had for yonks, and it's just, and just to give you a wee laugh, it says "Rart in fart." Fart in Danish means speed or motion, and in this context it means, rart means something nice. So it means something nice in a hurry, so kind of speedy meals. So, as I said, if you want to work along with us and do something from the kitchen, you saw me when I was doing a spot of zone cleaning in here yesterday. I got rid of a tea towel that ended up in the rag section, and a mug, and also some things that some bits and bobs from an event. So that's my little pile for today. And then on to just a few questions and answers. You're probably affected by coronavirus like everybody else in the world right now. The figures here in Denmark this morning, 250 people have confirmed cases of the coronavirus, and about 1,000 are in quarantine. And the coronavirus cases that we have here in Denmark, most of them come from people who have been skiing in Italy, or been in the north of Italy during the winter week. And I told you that here in Denmark, the winter week is usually week 7 or week 8 of February. So it's like the first couple of weeks of February. That's when the schools are closed, and a lot of Danes, they head south and they go skiing. And of course, Italy has a huge number of people affected by corona, and that's how the Danes have brought it here. So we've had a lot of measures in place from the beginning, which is great, and the government are saying, please take things seriously, but don't panic about it. And just that we're all trying to help each other by, being sensible about things and trying to do what we can. And just to let you know how it's kind of affects us on a day-to-day basis. In the beginning, the government saying, don't travel to certain countries. There were certain parts of Italy Iran. They've now also, I think this morning, there were certain areas of Spain, certain areas, of course, of China. Also this morning they have asked, it was at a news briefing yesterday, they've asked that people as much as possible try and not use public transport at peak hours. What we're trying to do is make sure that people are not standing so close together, so they're actually extra staff on hand to make sure there are not too many people getting on the buses, that people on the metro, that they're putting in all the extra metro cars that they can. My husband and my daughter, they both use the underground plus the metro to get to work and school. So it'll be interesting to hear when they come home today if they've noticed a big difference. But of course, the usual things apply. I mean, carry hand sanitizer with you, if you've been on the train or the bus. Don't go coughing on people, keep your gloves on. Well, it's still freezing here, so that's not a problem for us. And if you have to blow your nose, use a hanky and throw it away. But if you have any kind of obvious flu or cold symptoms, stay at home. You do not be going out and infecting everybody else, because it's really infectious, this one. That's the thing that we're trying to avoid, is the spread of infection. And also how it kind of affects us on a day-to-day basis. I don't know if I told you, was it a couple of weeks ago? On Plan and Play Tuesday, I'm always organising things with friends, maybe going to a concert. And I asked my friend Catherine, my friend Catherine, who's been in Denmark for longer than me. She's been here for like 30 years. I know Catherine's auntie watches here, so hello Catherine's auntie. Catherine's from New Zealand. And I'd said to her, did she want to join me for a concert at John Hopkins? And Catherine said no, she was going to be travelling for work. She was going to be on a trip to Germany. Well, as it so happens, all kind of unnecessary business travel has been stopped. People are doing video meetings instead of travelling around Europe. They've kind of put the brakes on that. So Catherine said, she could join me for the concert. And we were like, great, we'll go out for dinner, our usual thing, go out for dinner, drinks and a concert. But of course, since then, things are changing all the time. There is now a stop on all events of more than 1,000 people together. So that's football matches, they're playing football matches here at the weekend with no spectators. Just last night, Simple Minds were playing here. I didn't have tickets for it. I saw them, was it last year? You may remember me talking, I saw them last year. And because it's a venue which has more than 1,000 people, that's my favourite venue, Vega in Copenhagen. They had actually split it up and made it 2 concerts, so that they were making sure that they didn't have too many people together. So they actually played 2 concerts. I think it's 7 o'clock and at 10 o'clock at night, instead of just one concert that started at 9 o'clock. The John Hopkins thing, I don't know, that's in a couple of weeks, so I don't know if that will, if it will be cancelled or what will happen. The Royal Theatre here in Denmark, they're still going forward with performances, but again, they're reducing the capacity, so that what is happening is that you will have an empty seat between you and the next person. Or of course, you can get your money refunded if you don't want to go to the performance. So that's how it's kind of affecting us on a day-to-day basis. But don't. There's no need to panic about these things, but take it seriously. If they're telling you not to travel at peak hours. I'm going to be travelling in the city today, not at peak hours, and usually I would take the underground and then transfer to the metro. And I wouldn't transfer to the metro today, I'll just walk an extra couple of stops. So, it's just being practical about these things, and as usual, making sure that you use hand sanitizer. And we were out yesterday, because I mentioned it was my bestie's birthdays in February, Helena and Vibeke, and we always do our usual thing. We've got a little tradition that we're down for our skinny dip, and yes, skinny dip means the same as where you are. We swim naked all year round, and on our birthdays, you may be dipping in your birthday suit, not wearing anything, but you must wear the birthday hat. So this is our little tradition. And I've said it before, this birthday hat is like the Spanish Inquisition. Nobody escapes the Spanish Inquisition or the birthday hat. So they were swimming with the birthday hat, and then we went to a cafe to have a really nice, we had wonderful food. And, you know, we had the presents, you know, the gifts on the table, and, you know, where we took some photos. And this year, of course, there's the hand sanitizer on the table, you know, it's everywhere in the cafes. And we were just saying, gosh, what's going to be like when we think back, you know, next year when we're out celebrating their birthdays, where we're going to think back at, oh gosh, that was the year of Corona and what happened. So anyway, very interesting times that we live in. But as I said last week, when I was talking about, you know, my friend Sue who had broken both her wrists, I know many of you were affected by the dreadful, you know, tornadoes. It's just a case of, you know, sometimes the routines bring you comfort. Not checking the news too often, you know, to take the advice that comes out, but don't be panicking about things. And also, you know, making sure that you are ready for whatever can come up next. You know, I'm saying this all the time. Have you got enough coffee? Have you got enough food in? Have you got, you know, toilet paper, sanitizer, whatever it is that you need. I know some of the lovely ladies who follow me on Instagram. They're in one of the affected areas in Italy where they're on a real lockdown. So, you know, let's be sensible about these things. Don't go overboard. But a wee bit of preparation can really bring a lot of comfort and a lot of ease the stress. Now, let me see, but before it all goes into Corona, what else? Oh yeah, something fun came up. I asked you on Friday about laundry routines and just generally doing your routines at the weekend. Because I always get that question, you know, why do I do my routines at the weekend? Or, you know, and I'm not doing decluttering, stuff like that, but just, you know, keeping things going, because otherwise I just get into a slump and it doesn't feel good to me. And it's not really about the house, but it's in my head. I feel that sense of dread coming on again. And a lot of you commented about, you know, when you do your routines, and especially things like laundry, according to the prices for electricity or energy in your area. And that's really inspiring this week. And I'm really, our electricity rates, normally the highest cost is something like between 5 and 8 in the evening, and if I remember rightly, between 7 and 8 in the morning. So I'm thinking, and I'm doing a wee experiment at the moment, and I'll let you know how I get on, of, you know, running the dishwasher or running the washing machine at a different time and seeing if that affects our electricity in any way. Because, you know, when I was younger, you know, I lived at home with my dad. And my dad was always, you know, turning down, you know, switching off all the lights, unplugging stuff, and if we were cold, oh, well, you know, put on an extra jumper. And I also have to point out here for Americans, jumper is this is the British word for, you know, a sweater. Oh, put on an extra sweater, a jumper, a cardigan. And I would be like, and now that I'm a grown up and, you know, and paying for the electricity and whatever, you know, I'm saying to the kids, switch off that light, just put on an extra jumper. So it's funny how these things come around, where if you're the one that's actually having to pay for it, how much more responsible you can be. So anyway, I'll let you know how I get on with my wee experiment to see if that changes anything for us. Oh, and another thing that comes up, just because, and I don't know why, it's always at this time of year, because the light changes here, where we're really, we're now into spring in Denmark. It's light when we get up first thing in the morning. It's already light by about 6 o'clock, 6:15 in the morning. You can hear the birds singing. We will be switching over to moving the clocks forward at the end of this month. And people always think the colour of my hair changes at this time of year, just because the lights here in the kitchen, we've got the over the window up there, the Velux window. I don't colour my hair. I haven't coloured my hair and had highlights for the last 10 years, but what you can see is I've got a lot of grey, and it comes in, Vibeke and I would call it my little halo. So when you see, it just depends on how my hair is falling, how much of the grey you can see in it, but I love my little silver highlights. I don't colour my hair at all, and for those of you who asked again, because I get a lot of questions about how I style my hair, and I actually did a little video of how I style my hair. I'll put a link up there, because it takes me like three minutes in the morning, and normally I blow dry it upside down. You can see it in the video, and then I put a bit of wax into my hair, just wax, and I'll just show you here. If I go like this, because that wax stuff is really, you just need a tiny drop of wax, and it gives so much texture to your hair. And when I do that in the morning, my daughter always says, "Mum, are you doing that? Are you doing that troll hair thing again?" But I just love that. Oh, there's so much volume. And then after that, of course, I can kind of pat it down and put it into the right shape, and it kind of stays like that the rest of the day. And if I'm feeling a wee bit floppy by the end of the day, I just kind of zhuzh it up a bit. So anyway, just a wee fun thing about that. And now I'm going to wash my hands. Anyway, I hope you have a fantastic Wednesday. What is Wednesday in Flylady Land? It is anti-procrastination day. Clean out your fridge, maybe have a look in there, just wipe off one shelf. We are doing kitchen week this week, so anything that you want to do in here, maybe have a look and see what you've got in the freezer or the fridge that needs using up. If you haven't already planned your menus, go ahead and do that. And I think that is about it. So anyway, I am off to, no, there we are. I'm going to go out looking like a troll today. Anyway, hope you're all safe and well out there. Don't panic, but take it seriously. And I shall see you tomorrow for day 16 of our challenge. Okay, live long and prosper. May the Danish sugar be with you, and I'll send you off with a usual rah, rah, rah.